Project Torch is a foundation. We started kind of an offshoot of experiences I had and needs I saw when I was training and competing as an athlete. I was very fortunate to spend some early years of my career just outside of Philadelphia with Team Foxcatcher. It was a really valuable experience. It was a great training facility. It was filled with great wrestlers, great coaches, foreign athletes there. The time I spent there was where I learned probably some of the most important technique. Early on when we started the wrestling school here, I knew that that was a long-term vision, and it was something that I wanted to work towards having here for not only the athletes in the Midwest and the senior level athletes now, but build it so that the athletes coming through our program would have that to fall back on if they choose and if they are at the level to continue to go on and compete internationally.
Well, I think it's important when we're dealing with the younger kids that we're real hands-on and we're real aware of what we're showing them. In all reality, they're the future of our sport.
I like the intensity and how everyone has specific goals. How it's not like your regular wrestling program down in your town, but wrestling is basically my life. I skip a lot of other sports for it, and it takes up a lot of my time, but I'm willing to dedicate everything.
When we started this place 8 years ago, I didn't want to just have an impact at the state level. I wanted to have an impact at the national level and ultimately at the world level. Similar to the way I viewed my competitive career, I didn't want to just be a state champion. I wanted to be a national champion. I wanted to compete and test my wrestling abilities against the other best wrestlers in the world.
Well, my personal goal is to make the U.S. national team and then go on and win an Olympic and world title.
To be a Liberty national champion, Triple Crown, win a bunch of World Productions state champion, and make it all the way to Olympics.
I plan on making an Olympic team.
Personal goal is to be 2008 and 2012 Olympic gold medalist, 2009 NCAA champion, 2009 world champion, 10, 11, 12. You basically just not lose from here on out.
I see myself training for the Olympics at overtime.
I want to be an Olympic champion.
The advantage here is what you have structured training with Sean Bormed, who's, in my opinion, one of the best coaches in the world. You got all these guys that can come into this environment. Everybody gets to come here and meet and, banging out with each other, so you get the best competition and the best coaching.
Amateur athletics in our country isn't necessarily supported the way I would like to see it supported. Pro athletes are they're supported very well, and unfortunately wrestling doesn't have a pro element. Pro baseball, pro football, professional hockey, professional basketball. Those professional leagues have youth programs that are funded because those professional leagues make so much money. Some of that money trickles down to and helps the development and supports the youth programs across the country. And amateur sports that aren't mainstream media sports, we don't get that same support. We have to step up and initiate a movement to get support from our own people that understand it and people that can spread the word about the value of the sport and the value of supporting amateur Olympic sports. I don't think everyone really understands the gap between high school or collegiate athletics and the international level and what it takes to train and compete at that level. And that's an area where we got to do some work. We have to educate the high school, the junior high school, even the early collegiate parent and wrestling fan out there about the difference on what it takes to train and compete and be able to travel overseas and be able to train really full-time, 4 or 5, sometimes 6 hours a day, and still live and be able to pay for all your daily expenses and your house or your apartment, your car. Guys train isolated at colleges, and they work at the colleges and they help train the college athletes, and they do some training on their own. But there aren't a lot of opportunities in our country right now where these guys can go collectively and have structured training and have training camp opportunities. We have opportunities at the Olympic Training Center, but these guys can't always get to the Olympic Training Center. And one place in a country this big I don't think it's sufficient.
The advantage of training here at Overtime is first off being in a freestyle setting all the time and having coaches like Sean Bormed and John Cady and Kerry Bowmans all here, just working for one goal, and that's to excel in freestyle. coming out here wrestling with some of the best guys in the U.S. and now having Sean bringing in some of these foreigners is really what is going to help us get to the next level.
Even over the last couple of years as I've talked to people, they don't understand. When I start to explain it to them, they're shocked. I mean, they're shocked that these athletes, are in these situations where they're kind of fumbling around to get money to go on trips, or they're fumbling around to figure out how they're going to get to a training camp. It's not a great system to have success. And if you look at anything out there that's really successful, it's usually backed by a successful system.
My name is Dimitar Georgiev and I'm from Bulgaria. I am a Bulgarian national champion for kids, for cadets, junior, and also I took 2005 first place for the senior, and I make a world junior team. I like to train here in USA because there is a lot good wrestlers, and they are very physically very strong, and I like to train here. It's a good place.
Well, I realized at an early age, the first time I was around some successful foreign athletes, that their style was very different. Some of the techniques and the mindset was different. We're the only country that wrestles folk style, so from the time they start wrestling till the time they finish, it's freestyle or it's Greco-Roman. There's a whole nother world of situations and different objectives to techniques out there, and and their training philosophies are a little different. Max Nowery had an opportunity. He's had some very early success in both freestyle and Greco-Roman. Right after the state tournament this year, he had a trip set up to go to Bulgaria and compete in a really good junior age group tournament.
It was a fun experience. We got to wrestle with their Bulgarian senior national team and their Bulgarian junior national team. And just to see the different styles, just amazing.
He spent about 10 days there training, and we were able to help him with some of the cost, offset some of the costs for him to have that opportunity. We have some work to do to keep these athletes in the sport longer and get them opportunities earlier. We're really excited about the board we're building. I think we're going to need a little more staffing involved in terms of the training and the administration. And there's a lot of logistics involved, because now we're not just having athletes dropped off in the parking lot that walk in our facility and train. These athletes are flying in from all over the country. I think it's important because if wrestlers aren't going to support wrestling, who is going to support wrestling? Who is going to try to help build centers around the country and build more training opportunities for our own athletes than wrestlers? At this point, I think it's important. It's easy to say thank you, but sometimes it's hard to convey how much you appreciate the support and what it means to have other people believe in what you're trying to accomplish. From the time we've opened the doors here at Overtime, I feel like we've had that support. I want to thank all the people that have responded early to Project Torch, kind of jumped in, involved with the board, time and energy into what we're trying to accomplish, and just the overall support we have going right now at this early stage. As one family and one community in the great sport of wrestling.